We're so excited for our strategic partnership with the American Marketing Association. CMI and AMA have partnered together with a certified course that is our Content Marketing University to become a certified content marketing leader.
I'm super excited about it for what it means for the growth of our profession, for what it means for creating the proper framework for our content marketers to grow and excel. Having certification, having a body of knowledge, having both best and emerging practices, it's really what helps to define a profession.
We couldn't be more excited to be partnering with such a wonderful organization because they're providing the true standard of excellence when it comes to certification in marketing.
And having the opportunity to take the depth of research, knowledge, and practical skill that comes from the Content Marketing Institute content, combined with the proven approaches, the robust community and leadership that comes from the AMA, I think it's a perfect combination.
If you're a marketing practitioner and you want to upskill your way into becoming a certified content marketing leader, well, then Content Marketing University is for you.
Hello, hello. Happy Monday, everyone. Happy 2024 as well. This is Amanda with the Content Marketing Institute. Thank you so much for joining me for this first Ask the CM World Community Livestream of the year, where each time we dive into a new topic with an awesome member of our CM World community. And this week is extra special because we're actually talking to 4 awesome members, content and marketing experts, about what's ahead for 2024. So I'm super excited about today's discussion. And if you didn't know, this live stream is brought to you by the Content Marketing Institute. We are the leading training and education organizations for all things content marketing. And you can head over to contentmarketinginstitute.com for all kinds of resources and educational content over there. And if you joined us before and you know the drill, give us a virtual wave, say hello, let us know where you're joining us from. We love to see it. We love to share it as well. I see our good friend Andy is already commenting and chatting here. So please let us know. And if you have any questions or comments as we go along, please drop them in the comment section below. As always, it makes for a more engaging live stream when we hear from all of you. We love to hear your experiences, your comments as well. So let's get the ball rolling here by asking, as always, the question of the day. So what trends are on your radar for 2024? Or what predictions do you have for marketing and content in the new year? We would love to hear them. Drop them in the comments, and I will share them alive right now with everyone else. For me, of course, we're all keeping an eye on AI. Leveraging video, of course, short form video will continue to skyrocket, but I still think there's a great place for long form video content as well. I know I love that Instagram lets me watch longer videos as well. So as long as it's good content, there is definitely a place for it. And social media, I really think I haven't been on as much because I've dropped a few platforms, but I feel a little disconnected. So I really think there's a great opportunity out there for marketers to build communities and I think experiences. I really think both digital online experiences and offline experiences. I think there's a great opportunity. I think we all just really want to connect, and I think there's a lot of opportunity there. So let's see, we have Anne jumping in here from Dallas, Texas. She says she's learning more about AI, of course, and leveraging AI tools. Paul is here as well. He says how to create meaningful content by using AI for search and adding that creative personal touch as well. We have Matthew from France. We have Chiara from Italy. Adnan from Singapore. So thank you all so much for joining us today. All right, so let's get going here. Are you ready for 2024? It's here whether we are ready or not. In December, we released our annual and very popular predictions report. where 67 experts weighed in with trends and predictions they were expecting for the new year. Of course, uncertainty over AI, social media turmoil, data privacy changes, so much uncertainty ahead. And we are going to talk about it today with our awesome all-star cast of content and marketing experts. They're all friends of ours here at CMI. So give me a second here while I pop everybody up. We have Deanna Ransom, the CEO of Red Monkey Consulting. We have, here we go, Inbar Yagur, the CEO of Radical B2B. We have Bert Van Loon from Content Marketing Fast Forward, and I got it right, Ryan Brock with Demand Jump. So thank you all for joining me today.
Great to be here, Amanda.
Thanks for having us.
Right, thank you. We have lots of people joining us today, so we are ready to get started here. We talked a little bit about this behind the scenes backstage, but whether you're tired of hearing about it or not, AI is here to stay. Too big, too disruptive not to talk about it, and it was pretty much all over our predictions article this year. So Deanna, let's start with you. What do you want people to think about when it comes to AI and their marketing plans in the new year?
Absolutely. And so I just want to start by saying AI, that's it. We said it, it's out there, and we're doing it, right? So one of the most important things from my perspective to think about as it relates to AI for 2024, particularly for marketers and content marketers, is to be very intentional and strategic in its use. If you look at it as a tool that is going to support you, I believe I heard someone mention in research that is a great utilization or use case, if you will, for AI in marketing. One of the other things that comes to mind is how it can help you with personalization. Getting that content together. And it's going to allow you to be so much more strategic, because by adopting AI, which you've been using for many years, whether you know it or not, it's in your marketing tech, right? It's in everything. It's in your phone. So it's nothing to be scared of. It's another use case for it. And so I want you to be strategic. Do not think that you're going to be able to remove content strategy or content people from the mix, because when you get back content from AI, it needs to be edited. It needs to be personalized in the sense of human connection. And that's something where it'll save you time, scale you up, and allow your strategies to be more impactful and scalable.
Awesome. Yes. Anybody else want to weigh on their AI, their AI comments, and all of you listening from home? We'd love to hear what you have ahead for this year when you're looking at leveraging AI tools, for sure. Well, Ryan, you said, as you pointed out in the article, AI is going to make content development much easier, right, for everyone. But what's your advice on how you can differentiate your content and stand out from the rest?
Yeah, that's the question, right? I mean, I think someone in the chat already asked it. And to me, I want to go on a little bit of a tangent, because I think there's one way that I'm thinking about AI that I really encourage content marketers to sort of embrace, and it's going to help guide your decision making. And this is going to sound like it's completely unrelated, but trust me, it is. Oppenheimer, right? He creates the bomb and he drops it, and everything changes forever. The world enters a completely new era, and for the next 50 years, probably more, mutually assured destruction is the only thing keeping the Cold War cold, right? Like, people are afraid of the power of this bomb. It changes the game. I think AI does the same thing for content marketing. And I think specifically it does it on a topic by topic basis. I think a lot about topical authority when it comes to SEO with my content. It's a big part of pillar-based marketing, which is my whole shtick. And in that framework, we're thinking about what are all the different ways people learn about a given topic and all the language people use to talk about that given topic. I think we've seen a lot of evidence that Google thinks the same way, and that a website is an authority on certain topics, but not on everything, right? Domain authority as a blanket sort of, you're an expert on anything you want to be, doesn't really work. It never really has. What I think happens, and I've seen it happen a couple of times, and it's something that I'm a little bit concerned about, and that I think marketers need to be thinking about, is that if somebody in your industry, if somebody is ready to do the thing where they go out and they get AI to write just tons of content. And I've talked to people who are saying, I'm going to get some research done. I'm going to use AI and I'm going to get like 150,000 articles written. You know, like, we're in a world now where that sounds insane, but it's within reach. And all it takes is one marketer in your industry amongst your competitors who want the same organic traffic you want to do that. And now everybody's got to catch up. It's an arms race, right? Like, the game changes. So one thing that you need to be looking out for is, are your competitors, and not just your business's competitors, but are your competitors for organic traffic, for search rankings, starting to go this like just huge blanket carpet bomb AI approach? Because if they do that, then you kind of assume you've got to do that to stand up. And what I think Google is sort of struggling with, and has been for the last year and will into 2024, is when that happens, when anybody can fire up an AI tool, just dump data into it and write way more content than any one brand should be able to, then how else is Google going to differentiate who deserves to win? Who deserves the traffic and where does it come from? That's where, like, having a personal brand, even for individuals writing your content, having a voice and a perspective. Ann Handley, earlier this year, I got to hear in Boston talk about how everyone needs to get weird with content. That's my answer, is like, use the AI as a way to get ahead and keep parity with your competitors, but be weird. Like, that's what we all have to do, because the AI can't ever be weird. And Google added that extra E to make sure it's letting us know, hey, we're paying attention to like where your perspective is. And is it a perspective that anybody can just copy, or is it your own? And I think that's going to become the biggest differentiating factor moving forward.
Yes, weird Barbie. That's what Ann said. She said,
I should have worn my Barbie shirt.
Weird Barbie.
I have the Barbie shirt from Content Marketing World, and I totally forgot. I knew I was going to make an Oppenheimer reference. I didn't think I'd make a Barbie one. So.
Well, we have a question here from Deblina. She says, how would you convince your senior management without much knowledge of AI or content strategy that AI is not a replacement of a human and not an answer to bulk content, right? Because a generation of that without human touch is pretty much useless. Inbar, what do you think?
So I'm going to actually piggyback off of the whole Oppenheimer be weird thing, right? Okay. So there's that last E in what Google's saying, right? So AI is intelligent. It's not insightful. Okay. So everybody is making a buttload of content, right? So there's everybody's doing 150,000 articles. Okay. So Google is processing millions and millions and millions of articles. And so the way to stand out is by looking at that extra E. Okay. And the only way to look at that extra E is by putting a human touch in there. Is by, you can say, be weird, be insightful. Okay. You absolutely need the human strategy. You absolutely need the human insight in order for that to happen. Otherwise, what you're doing is you're drowning in a sea of junk, right? Every single time somebody asks me what the danger is in AI content, I say mediocrity. Okay. ChatGPT, what it is it's a language model that was trained on existing stuff, right? So it's not learning anything new. It's just rewriting stuff it's already read, right? So unless you feed it stuff that's original, stuff that's weird, right? All it's going to do is just rehash the same thing. It actually ran an experiment a couple of months ago. It was like, give me the 5 tips to start a successful B2B SaaS newsletter, and ran it through ChatGPT 3 times. And I ran it through Bard a couple of times. They literally gave me the same exact thing, of course, because the entire internet says the same thing about, 5 tips to start a successful B2B SaaS newsletter. So the point is, you can demonstrate that. You can ask the same question. It will give you the same answer without the added insight and original thought. You're just going to drown in a sea of sameness and mediocrity. And that's really, I think, the case. And if you need to demonstrate it, it's really easily demonstrable by just asking ChatGPT a question and seeing that it's going to spit out the same answer each time.
It's like the ultimate version of like the 2010s clickbait, article, right? Like that's what we need to start thinking. Like, share a hot take, like have an opinion that people are going to be angry about and come in, because if you can't do anything, that is maybe the one last thing that you can do to differentiate and stand out, and that's what we got to do.
And
But let's not call it clickbait.
Yeah. I
I'm
hear
just
you.
trying to make a reference to
For
something
sure.
we all can remember. But
Yeah.
I mean, like having a hot take is good, but it's just like, it feels like that to me, where it's like we need to have some reason to click me over the 1,000 other things that are the same.
Value and insight.
Real quick, Deanna is talking about being able to change the heart and mind of a senior executive, right? So many times, there may be some senior executives on here, so please, I hope this isn't offensive, but they don't speak marketing, right? So we have to be able to present the use case that says our differentiator. You can say, yeah, we need to be weird, we need to add the E, and the CEO may look at you like, what? So we need to be able to say what really makes us different, and where we ought to be adding more human value is we understand and can apply our brand. And if we've done a good job of differentiating our brand, we can weave that into the content that AI has generated, and it ought to give you some standout. So what you're doing now for a senior executive is being able to say the connection of our brand with the scale ability of AI is going to allow us to not just generate boatloads of crap, but it's going to allow us to scale up not only the content that we're outputting, but it's going to allow it to be connected back to our brand, because we need the people to weave that in. Your AI chat GPT doesn't live your brand tenets, your people do. And when you say that to an executive, it'll go click.
Great. I like Charlotte says, going back to our weird comment, she says, I can relate to weird. So we can all relate to that as well. Inbar, let's go back to you. 2024 is going to be an interesting year, right? With all the skepticism over AI. We have a U.S. presidential election coming up here in the U.S. So our audiences are going to be more fragmented than ever. They'll be hunkered down. I love how you call this algorithm-powered internet echo chamber of choice, right? Everyone's going to be where they feel like they're hearing what they want to hear. So what's your advice on breaking through all that noise with our content and marketing?
Okay, so my advice is authenticity, and remembering that you don't exist only on your own feed. Okay, so I want to talk about both of those things for a second. Okay, so thing one is, it's really easy to just kind of, be oh, everything's great all the time, and just be like, oh, yesterday we did this and it was cool, and hey, look at this other fun cool thing. But sometimes everything sucks, and you just got to talk about how everything sucks, right? And sometimes and sometimes things are a little messy, and you got to talk about how things are a little messy. Now that doesn't mean that you got to talk about world events if you're like the CEO of some shoe company in Detroit, right? But I think you need to speak to the authenticity of what's going on in your world as a brand, right? And you have to talk about the authenticity of your people and what you do and who you are, and by being authentic to that, that's what's going to help you kind of break through all of the noise, because everybody can show a shiny, pretty picture, but if you show a little bit more behind that, show the people behind what you do, and you show the values behind what you do, and you do it authentically, that really does help you break through. And I think that the other thing about that is that you need to not be afraid to be niche. Okay, one of the things that people kind of there's so many social networks out there, and you kind of feel like, okay, well, let's make everything uniform so we fit everywhere, but that's not the right way to go, right? You should know where your customer lives, and you really need to think about that and speak to your customer where they are. If you try to blanket everywhere and be homogenous, then you're not really going to get it. It's going to be impossible to track, and it's going to be impossible to be real with the people that you're talking to. And so I feel like really being authentic and being, I like to call it radically transparent, is really the way to break through. I think that today's audience is way more sophisticated, and they can see fake really, really easily, especially like Gen Zers. They know fake. They understand fake. They see 3 in a second. And so being very authentic is something that I think is really important in this day and age, to cut through the noise. And the other thing is especially as a company, social media networks are not going to show you, right? Like if you're a company, you're not going to get shown organically for sure. You're going to have to put a lot of money there, right? And you can't always do that especially if you're a smaller brand or B2B company. But also, you want to rely on user generated content, and there's a whole creator economy that's happening right now on TikTok and on other platforms with really authentic voices who can really talk about your brand in a way that can connect with your audience. And you need to be careful about this, because you don't want to just send PR packages to the entire world and hope somebody talks about it. You want to be respectful of creators that you reach out to. You want to find the right people to reach out to, but collaborating with the right content creators on platforms where your audience lives can really help you cut through and reach the right people. So be niche, be authentic, and think outside of your own feed. I think those are the things that will really help you kind of cut through the noise.
Yes, I have a comment here from Jeanette. She says, so true. Spending time to research your customer, discover where they're being social is the key to getting message across. Doesn't make sense to waste time or energy where it's not needed. All right, I want to get a chance to get Bert in here. Getting back to the basics of content marketing was a big trend that many content marketers predict for this year. And Bert, you talk a lot about the importance of thinking of content marketing as 2 separate pillars. And you think we need to focus on the marketing part when it comes to our content marketing. So can you explain your trend a little bit?
Absolutely. And I don't think if it's a trend or a goal for all of us. I mean, I love my content tribe. And I think, continuing on the previous discussion, that AI forces us as something disruptive to re-identify, to remake choices where we differentiate in our voice, in our identity, in our format, etc., but also in our channels, for example, in our complete content publishing strategy. And of course, that needs marketing knowledge. I've been a little bit provocative. I wrote, most of us are content creators first and marketers second or third or fourth. The words content and marketing are like 2 legs. If you don't stand firmly on both, you risk falling over. When I run around in content marketing world, I think we have a lot of focus on better storytelling, content creation, video, etc., and too little, to be honest, on the real core marketing side. I think marketing really sits on both ends of the content game. First, on the incoming side, we have to really be able to understand business challenges translated into marketing challenges and how that translates into content challenges. So we know what we have to do and why we do it. And on the other hand, if we create that content, which is a product, and I have a publisher's background, so that's kind of a logic thinking in my head, a kind of hardwired thinking, we have to market our content as a product. We have to know how we position it, how we make it different, the discussion that we just had, how we really distribute it in the right channels, how we make it effective as a business case. And that reverts me back as well to let me check that name in our audience here, Deanna's question. I would present the business case to my CEO and tell her or him how AI will help us to do this more effectively and efficiently, but also how the revenue comes from our content operation, and AI will help us. And if to a certain part replacement would be a good business case, we should advocate that as well. But I really think in general, we are great content creators, but quite often we jump too fast into creating things and we skip a little bit why we do it. You may remember Joe Pulizzi's, I think, 7 laws of content marketing a few years ago, 2019, just pre-COVID. The first one was of they don't have a clue. Typically, and was spot on, like the people who decide on the budgets, and Robert always calls it should not be a project, but a process, right? We really have to present it, I'm quoting Amanda Subler here, as a business case, why we do it and why we deliver results with our content. And I think that that's one of the biggest missions for all of us marketeers. Stop just pushing content, because with AI, the quantity game will never win it, and become content business people, content marketers, and really market our content the way we should do it.
You know,
Amen.
Bert, if I could tag on to that, you actually touched on what I spoke on at Content Marketing World, which was like, it's a revenue growth playbook. Content does drive revenue when it is aligned to the strategy of the business. So knowing who you're marketing to, aligning with the growth goals of the organization, knowing what content to create by what needs to be achieved. Is it retention? Is it net new, top of funnel? Are you trying to get more folks to convert? Like, you have to work and understand the business needs and align what's being created to that. And then AI is more of a tool that can help you to scale and personalize and research and get the content itself done faster, but you then align it back to the brand and the business goals. I love it. You spoke my language. I had to say thank you.
Maybe as an illustration, we just wrapped up the Content Marketing Awards series here in the Benelux, and we had confidential insights in many breakups of budgets: content creation, content distribution and promotion as the second, and project management strategy is in the third. And in general, we see that 70 to 80% of the budget goes to content creation, which we love, which agencies love, because that's their business model. But if we look at the ratios in publishing, in the movie industry, etc., I mean, it should almost be inverted, right? 20, 25% production, 50, 60% distribution and promotion, repurposing. And I think, again, where we now have new tools that make bad content creation easier, we should go to quality and really make that content work.
Well, and there's the flip side to this too. I agree with what you said, Bert, that got Deanna so excited, but Jeanette nailed it in the comments. I think content marketers don't tend to think about the market for their content as much as like businesses think about the market for their services or their products, right? Like, with the amount of data available, setting AI completely aside for a second, it's possible, if you know where you want to be an authority, and this is what I do on a daily basis, to actually measure the market for traffic around a topic. And I live in that SEO world, but to say, look, when it comes to this topic that I want to be an expert in, let's say it's content marketing, I can learn exactly what all of the most statistically likely ways people are going to search for that is. It's not keyword research exactly, but diving in and understanding where the market in general is investing time, effort, energy into developing content that drives business results. Like, I think it's a matter of going to your business leaders and saying, hey, I want to do this content campaign and I'm going to use it on these 10 platforms and all of this, but underlining all of that, I've done the research and I know exactly how our audience talks about this. And I know the other people in our space who are trying to attract them and how much market share they have when it comes to the traffic you can earn from organic search. Thinking very strategically in terms of like total addressable market for your content can really help you make sure that you're setting the sort of the guardrails that you need, so that when you make a business case for doing it to anybody who's invested in your wallet, it's clear, right? Like, relying less on hey, this is my brand and this is strong and we're going to make good content, and more on, I know without a shadow of a doubt, these are the questions I need to answer if I'm going to find people where they are. That is like the most important thing to be thinking about. And that's a big data thing. It's not an AI thing. But once you have that big data and you can understand how the market learns, you can create content more efficiently and stay on top of them with answers where you need to be, where they are. And that's last thing. I know we're at time, but like, we had a question about like, how do you get on the AI consumption of content side of things? I'm gonna be honest. My answer to that is it's witchcraft. Like, I don't even know if it's worth getting into that, because ChatGPT doesn't want to give you credit. Google, they will give you credit, but they got to be forced to do it. The new SGE will have links in it. We've even found this morning I was talking to some colleagues that like the stuff that shows up in the SGE cards for generated answer in Google isn't necessarily what's showing up in the organic search results. It's like stuff from page 2 often. So all of this comes together in like, you can't just like make content that you know is good and throw it out there. You have to look at how people are engaging and how even the AI tools are giving credit, if any, but I'd rather focus on where my audience is than trying to get into ChatGPT's brain personally.
Yeah.
Yeah, good choice.
Yep. Very good point.
Lots of great comments and questions here as well. And I wanted to just, I know we're at time, but touch real quick, because I really think like social media, we touched on it a little bit, so much turmoil this year is, how do we, how are we going to, navigate this changing landscape? So I kind of want to go quickly around and get your thoughts, because I know I've dropped some platforms, but I'm struggling to stay connected. So Bert, what are your thoughts on the social media? Robert Rose thinks it's going to collapse totally. So
yeah, quite simple. I think no one can foresee how this will evolve. So at the same time, in the short run, social media can be an essential building block in your strategy still. So my 2 pieces of advice would be: take the benefits in the foreseeable future, but don't make yourself dependent in the long run. And the second, reread Alice in Wonderland, because that's the absolute manual on how to act and be adaptable, flexible, curiosity, open-mindedness in a changing world.
Inbar?
Yeah, don't tie your entire business plan on social media is a great piece of advice, 100%. Just keep track of where your audience is and stay the heck out of politics. Your CEO does not need to write a letter whenever something happens. Nobody cares. Nobody cares what your CEO thinks about what's going on in, Gibraltar, whatever. No, stay out of it. Stay out of it. Stay in your lane.
Awesome. Ryan?
Man, I don't know. Half of me wants to say just give up until the computers take it all over for us and we don't have to really worry about it. The other half of me wants to say, like, just be courageous. Just be courageous this year. Take big swings. You might miss sometimes, but like, we're all going to miss if we don't. So there's nothing to lose, literally.
Deanna?
Okay, reread the book if you haven't. Who Moved My Cheese? Okay, because the cheese is moving, right? And so I'll start with that. But more importantly, one of the things I want to double back to, make sure you use intent data. Understand what your audiences are looking for, what they're searching for, what they want. That's going to help guide you in creation of content. Number 2, for social media, do not try to be on every channel. It will not serve you. It will cost you way too much money. It is more important, back to what Ryan said, when you really understand your audiences and what Bert said, who you are creating content for, go to the channels where they are, use those channels, and be ready to pivot, because be aware the changes are going to keep happening. So don't get reliant, as Inbar even said, don't get reliant, go where they are, use them, but also have agility to be able to pivot if those channels change, because right now Threads has my mind doing like this.
Yes. Well, thank you all so much. I know we have a lot of questions and comments. We will try to go back after this. If our panelists here are willing to answer some of those questions for you, we'll get them to them so they can answer them. If you want even more on predictions, we had an awesome digital event in December looking ahead to the trends this year, including preparing your AI and SEO strategy, user-generated content, zero-click content, so much more. So here's the link. It's still available on demand if you would like to check it out as well. So thank you to our awesome panelists here. Thank you to all of you for your comments. Sorry we couldn't get to it all. We had so much great things to talk about. So I wish all of you a very courageous and great new year. So thank you all and have a great week.
Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you, Amanda.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks, everyone.